want a war with Iran? Great. Who's going? Because I'll tell you who won't be going. The senators voting for it, the pundits cheering it on, and the billionaires profiting from it. They'll all be just fine. They always are. They'll beat their chests and froth at the mouth about sending a message to Iran from the comfort of an air-conditioned television studio, while active duty service members like my husband are the ones who get sent to for the sake of their polling numbers and TV ratings. Meanwhile, military families like mine, we're the ones who pack the bags. We're the ones who count the days. We're the ones who cry into our pillows and pray the phone doesn't ring in the middle of the night. And we do all of that while these cowards on TV talk about war like it's a goddamn board game, like they're not gambling with our loved ones' lives. We've done this before. America, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and every single time they lie. They send in the troops, and then they leave us to pick up the pieces. So no, we're not doing this again. Military families are fed up. Did you know that 2/3 of active duty military families today say we wouldn't encourage our own children to enlist? The US government has relied on military families to provide the next generation of recruits since our country was founded. But we're done with that. So what happens when enlistment tanks even more now that signing the dotted line could mean getting sent to the front lines yet again? Where do you think the pretty princesses beating their chests in Congress will get bodies from then? They'll bring back the draft. Or they'll double down on exploiting desperate students with medical debt and minimum wage jobs and no other way out. They'll raid the south side of Chicago, the Colonias in Texas, the Res, the trailer park, wherever they think kids are too poor to say no. But this time, we're not going along with it. So hey, Washington, you want war? Draft your sons. Draft the rich. Draft the Ivy League legacy kids and the hedge fund heirs. If war is worth it, it should be worth it for everyone. But hey, we all know that you won't, because you know damn well it's not.
This is the book of Matthew, St. Matthew chapter 12 and verse 25, where it reads, Yahushua knew their thoughts. Sorry, this I'm reading from the NLT. Salakia. Alright, so it says, Yahushua knew their thoughts and replied, any kingdom divided by civil war is doomed. A town or family splintered by feuding will fall apart. Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is your brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Camp here in Trinidad with another edification. Alright, through the power and spirit of Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai. So first and foremost, Kal Halayam La Alahayanawa Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai Baal Shem Rakah Kodash Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahushai Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahushai Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahushai. Double honors unto the apostles, the bishops, the elders, a great millstone that rule well. Double salutation unto the brothers who preaching and teaching this truth throughout the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and their freedom to do so more than ever. Shalom unto the speckled Israelites, and shalom unto the very few but faithful Akwat, which is the sisters that listening and learning. Alright, the title of this edification is In the War Shall Their Husbands Fall. Alright, in the war shall their husbands fall. Because this is what it is. Now this edification, I was meaning to do it for about a week or two, if so much, a week or two. But nevertheless, I still managed to get around and get it done, because it is still relevant, it is still prevalent, pursuant to the situation that is at hand. Not just because a so-called truce or ceasefire was brokered between Trump and Iran and Israel. that doesn't mean that everything is all well and good, you know. Nothing else is going to come out of it and whatnot, so forth, as I made a edification, you know, the same day that was mentioned, that truce, that false truce was mentioned. You know, don't believe the hype. All right, don't believe the hype. World War III is inevitable. Okay, World War III is inevitable. Now, as I read, and again, I will read it over again, Matthew 12 and 25 in the NLT. All right, Yahushua knew their thoughts and replied, any kingdom divided by civil war is doomed. A town or family splintered by feuding will fall apart. All right, will fall apart. And this is what is taking place with America, Babylon the Great, because they are a kingdom divided. All right, America, Babylon the Great is a kingdom divided. Now, that lady there, that Edomite, I would assume, all right, I would assume that she's an Edomite. All right. She had a mouthful to say. A mouthful to say. And her mouthful, what she had to say, is a sentiment that is being echoed by millions of these Edomites, you know, that is sick and tired and fed up. All right, because they have woken up. They have woken up from the lies. You know, they have woken up from the lies and all the false, broken promises and what have you, so forth. You know, they are sick and tired of seeing the deteriorating society within their nation, within their country, within their borders. All right. They seeing the greed of the politicians, all right, the greed, the endless greed of the politicians, okay? So they are sick and fed up, they are tired, they are growing weary, okay? They are growing weary. That's why when I go down to verse 26, in the NLT, it says, and if Satan is casting out Satan, he is divided and fighting against himself. His own kingdom will not survive. And this is what you are seeing being very prevalent within the American society, because the people, they are in an uproar against the powers that be, because they are growing sick and tired and weary. All right? They are watching how these Amalekites, these Ish people, all right, these Ish people is urging and lobbying, all right, for America to go to war against Iran. You know, Israel is how to put it, Israel is drawing them out, as the scripture says, you know, the least of the flock shall draw them out. You know, Israel is always putting America to do all their dirty work. All right? Salakia. To do all their dirty work. And the people, you know, they are sick and fed up of it. Because they are actually seeing where all of this is leading to. They are seeing that that there's a great possibility, which it is going to happen, all right, but they are seeing the great possibility of them going to war with Iran. And the fact of the matter, it is not just going to be with only Iran, but it is going to expand all right, France is going to expand not just against Iran, but against Russia, China, North Korea, Pakistan, likes of such, India, all right. They are seeing that this is about to take place, and that they know that when that come about, a lot of them, their husbands, their sons, their nephews, even their daughters will not be coming back home. They know that. They know that. And this is breaking the societal fabric of America. You see, the people is growing weary of wars. You see, remember, all these previous wars and what have you, so forth, these wars were fought on lies. And the American people, the Edomite I'm speaking about, mainly the Edomite, the so-called white man and woman, all right, they had that proud, pump, stout demeanor about them, as being this mighty nation and going out to war, and, they always going out to war, this, that, the other, and the conquering nations and this and that and the other, and whatever the case may be, You see, they were always eager to send their sons and what have you, so for their husbands to go out to fight, because of they were being fooled by the politicians and what have you, so for the lobbyists, all these who are lobbying for war and what have you, so forth. They've been fooled into thinking, that these wars are noble wars, so to speak. These wars are noble wars. But we are living in a time of information, knowledge being increased, information being easily accessed now, where the Lord is exposing, all right, the true reasons of why these wars is being fought. And the people is coming to the understanding that they have been fooled. So now they are growing weary because on top of that, they are actually seeing the atrocities that is being carried out by their respective militaries and what have you, so forth, because of these politicians. All right? A lot of these veterans. Now, I had, excuse my ranting and whatnot, but these are things that I have to speak on. All right? There are a lot of veterans, a lot of veterans that went and fought in Iraq and Afghanistan, That's just the latest. We needn't talk about Vietnam and what have you, so forth. Let's just deal with Afghanistan and Iraq alone. There are a lot of veterans that came back home and was like, this thing is just senseless. What are we really, what is our real purpose in Afghanistan and Iraq and what have you, so forth? Where millions of civilians are being put to death and what have you, you understand? On the pretext that we are fighting terrorism and weapons of mass destruction, these things and what have you, so forth, they're coming back home, they go to fight, and coming back home and being treated the worst, being treated the worst by their own governments, by their own politicians that send them there to fight and die. All for what? All for the greed of these politicians and the military industrial complex and all these things. The war machine. They are coming to that realization. And now they're speaking out against it. They are speaking out against it. And as the lady rightfully said, all right, because it was a tradition, A lot of soldiers that are serving today, some of them are third and fourth generation military men, active duty men, whether it be the Navy, whether it be the Air Force, whether it be the Army, the Marines. All right, a lot of them is third and fourth and what have you. Fifth generation. All right? And now that they are waking up and seeing, the true nature of these men in leadership, that is urging and beating the drums of war and what have you, so forth, they are not encouraging their children to carry on the legacy, carry on the tradition of serving. So as she rightfully said, where do you think they're going to get the strategy that they're going to use to build up their recruits? Because for years, for the past couple of years, they have not been making their monthly and yearly quota of troops, of recruits. All right, people is not signing up as they used to. Because they are being hipped, I would say, we would say, to what being in the military is all about, pursuing to these politicians and what have you, so forth. So they are like, I ain't going to die in no war for no greedy ass politician, all right, under the pretext of lies, and deceit. So when this whole thing come about, which it is going to come about, what do you think is going to take place? That draft is going to take place. And don't think that they're going to be drafting any in their sons and their daughters and what have you, so forth, and this and that and the other. No. They're going to draft you Jakes and what have you, so forth, both Northern and Southern Kingdom, you poor Jakes, all right, along with these poor Edomites. But a draft is going to take place in order to beef up, the ranks. This is what it is. But this also is going to cause a total breakdown in society. All these things is factors. All these things is factors is in what is going to lead to that civil war that is brewing. All right? Let's take a look at Isaiah chapter 19. Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 1. All right, in the KJV, Isaiah 19 and 1, it reads, the burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall be melt in the midst of it, which is what? America. All right? This is what it is. The Lord has a purpose pursuant to Egypt, pursuant to America, Babylon the Great. Verse 2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. And this is what you are seeing. This is what you are seeing. All right, America is a nation divided right now as we speak. So the Lord will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city and kingdom against kingdom. Because there are things, there are policies that the politicians are making in all aspects, not just pursuing to war, but all aspects of life. All right, draconian measures and what have you, so forth. You know, the robbing of the people, you know, mischief by law, these things that is causing a division amongst the people, because they are the stooges that is for the system, and then they are the rebels that is against the system, because they are seeing that they are not benefiting, but the rich, they are the ones that benefiting off of the policies that is being made by these politicians. So it is what it is causing a divide. Verse 3, and the spirit of Egypt shall fall in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, which is your boy Trump. He's fulfilling that right now. And a fierce king shall rule over them, say the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, the power of hosts. All right, and as she said, because there is another clip, but I don't have the time to play it. All right, there is another clip that a lady was speaking, another Edomite looking. She could be Edomite, she could be Jake, or she could be of another nation, we don't know. All right, but for the looks of it, she is Edomite, but she is sick and fed up, all right, of these Israelis. All right, she is voicing her frustration and her disgust pursuing towards these Israelis, all right, and that, you know, the politicians, the government is solely is blatantly showing out that they are being controlled by these Israelis to the point where, you know, it's leading to war. And she is like, she know for a fact, she does know it within her bones, within her spirit, that this king of Egypt now, that is ruling now, which is Trump, is going to lead them into war. All right, she is fully well convinced. And she is rightfully convinced, because that is what is going to take place. And again, these are the factors that will lead into a total societal collapse and all-out civil war. These are the factors. These are the things. Yeah? Because people are sick and fed up. People are growing sick and fed up. Let's go to the Apocrypha. Let's go to the Apocrypha. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the Apocrypha. But we go into 2nd Ezra. We go into 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and 14. 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and 14, where it reads, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, okay, and swords in their hand, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard the kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. You understand? This is what it is. Because the people are growing sick and fed up. All right? They're going to go to war against the politicians. They're going to go to war against those who support the politicians and what have you, so forth. All right? Martial law is going to break out to keep the people under total control and whatnot. And the people is going to rebel against it. What have you, so forth. This, that, the other. It's going to be a total all hell break loose on the streets of Babylon. And with all that, you have World War III going on and a draft taking place. And a lot of people is going to fight. Is going to fight to the death that their sons nor their daughters be called up to the military to go and fight a senseless war. Now, it is a senseless war to them, but it makes sense to us who in the truth here, because we know this has to take place in order to usher in the coming of our Lord and Savior, Yahawashi HaMashiach. All right, a lot of people is going to go to war against the system, pursuant to the MOTB. All that is going to come into play. All that is factors that is going to come into play. All right? Because they lost all the life savings and what have you, so forth, this, that, the other, and they can't get any answers pursuant to this whole monetary collapse, economical collapse, and what have you, so forth, and they're suffering a great loss. So it's like, all hell break loose. To hell with it. To hell with it. You understand? But that draft is coming. That draft is coming. World War III is coming. And a lot of them is going to lose their husbands and their sons and their daughters and what have you, so forth. Because this is the purpose of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi. Because he's controlling the minds of these leaders, because World War III is going to break out. When you take a look at 2 Ezra 16, 2 Ezra 16 and 33, 2 Ezra 16 and 33, where it reads, the virgins shall mourn having no bridegrooms, and the woman shall mourn having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. Why, Lord? Verse 34, in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. All right? A serious draft is going to be called. And a lot of young men is going to go into the ranks of the military by force because of that draft, and they will not be coming back home. It will be the last time their families, their mothers, their fathers, their cousins, their brothers, their sisters ever see them, ever hold of them. That last hug, that last kiss. That lady, what she said was a serious mouthful, and everything that she said was truth. And the hurtful part about it for them is that the ones who is lobbying for the war, their sons and their daughters is being excluded from this draft. All right? There was a clip, I can't remember, I can't find that clip, but there was a clip where Brother Ahmad Bayan had sent, where a lot of these people was calling on Trump for him to send his youngest son. Let his youngest son sign up. Let his youngest son be drafted. Yeah, let his youngest son be drafted. Seeing that you want war so much and what have you so forth, and you want to send our sons, our daughters, our husbands to go off to fight a war to satisfy your bloodlust and your greed and what have you so forth, pursuant to your new world order, okay, all well and good. Send your son. Let all those who've been lobbying, all those who in the media houses and what have you so forth, who is urging on this war, all these big techs, all those who are part of the military industrial complex and what have you so forth, you know, you all send your sons and daughters too. But you see, they wouldn't do that. That wouldn't happen. Not in this lifetime. Not in this lifetime. All right? And all these is what is going to, all these things is what is going to break down society within America. All right? And is going to play a serious role in America losing this war, because the men they don't have that spirit to fight. They don't have that fighting spirit within them. It's not like before. All right, it's not like before, because again the people is like the population, you know, the masses is like, I am not going to join no military to fight no senseless war to satisfy the bloodlust and the greed, the extreme greed of these men that is sending us out to war. That's why when I go to Jeremiah, let's take a look at Jeremiah. Jeremiah, the book of Jeremiah, where the hell are going? Jeremiah chapter 51 and 33. No, 30 actually. Jeremiah 51 and 38 reads, the mighty men of Babylon have forborne. You know what? Let me go to the end. Let me go to here. The blue letter. 51, 30. Jeremiah 51 and 38 reads, the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. All right, let's go to that word forborne. All right, forborne.
Strong's H2308. Chadal.
All right, Salakia.
Just below that, Chadal.
All right, so we get the word, okay? But what does it mean? It says to stop, cease, desist, forego, cease to be, leave undone, forbear, to cease, come to an end, to cease, to leave off. So the mighty men of Babylon, America, they don't have that fighting spirit in them anymore. Yeah, they don't have that fighting spirit, that warrior spirit in them anymore. Even the active duty men. All right? Even the active duty men. Okay? Even the men that are veterans, all right, they are like, hey, I would not encourage my son to go sign up for the military. All right, so it says what? The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holes. Their might had failed. They become as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. All right, because the war is going to be so ferocious, and they're going to be getting their ass kicked. They don't want no part of no war anymore. All right? it's going to, and when they're seeing that they're getting the ass kick, it's going to weaken their military even more. One post shall run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that his city is taken at one end. All right? Yeah? The news is going to pass to the king of Babylon that it is fallen. Babylon is falling, and it is falling. Yeah? And that the passages are stopped, and the reeds they have burnt with fire, and the men of war are affrighted. For thus say the Lord of hosts, the power of Israel, the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor. It is time to thresh her, yet a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come. This is the end for America. This is the end for America. That draft is coming. That draft is coming. That draft is coming. Yeah? I will end off with Joel chapter 2 and verse 20. Joel 2 and 20, it reads, "But I will remove far off from you the northern army," which is America, okay, "and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, which is the valley of Jehoshaphat." All right, pursuant to what? Pursuant to World War III, with his face towards the East Sea, which is the Arabian Sea, and his hinder part towards the utmost sea, which is the Red Sea. And his stink shall come up, and his savor, and his ill savor shall come up, because he has done great things. All right, so they're going to die like dogs over there in World War III. They're going to die like dogs. They're going to die like dogs. There's where it is here. Their husbands and their sons and all of that, they're going to die in the war like dogs. I hope you all are edified through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. This is your brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Camp signing out, saying Kal Halayam La Alahayanawa Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahushai Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahushai Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahushai. Double honors unto the apostles, the elders, the bishops of Great Millstone that rule well. Double salutation unto the brothers who preaching and teaching the truth through the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and their freedom to do so no more than ever. Shalom unto the speckled bird Israelites, and shalom unto the very few but faithful Akwat. Hey, this place is going down, man. This place is going down. America will fall. Best believe it. America will fall. Wah abad babal.